We all know people who like to trip others up because of a misplaced word or phrase. They try to cover their own flaws by changing the subject to the flaws of others. And maybe, at times, we've even been that person ourselves. Here in chapter 29, Isaiah has just prophesied of the coming forth of the Book of Mormon. The Book of Mormon is a marvelous gift to mankind, but Isaiah knows that there will be those who will try to find flaws with it. The faithful believe that it is the most correct of any book on earth, and yet false accusers have tried to label it as a fraud in any way they can. They latch on to supposed minor flaws in grammar and phrasing and overlook its eternal truths and the immense good it has done for millions of people. In Isaiah's day, public assemblies were often held at the city gates, where judgment was rendered for alleged crimes. Like today, city leaders would hear evidence for and against the accused, and like today, some lawyers would try to trip witnesses up by finding fault with their words. While straining at the gnat of a misplaced word, they hope to hide the greater guilt of their own client. But more than that, if a witness brought evidence against the accuser himself, the accuser would sometimes bring false accusations against that witness, trying to lay a trap for him, trying to ruin him so that his truthful testimony would not be believed. People who do this are those who lay a snare for the righteous. It happened in Isaiah's day, it happened in Joseph Smith's day, and in the last days, such false accusations will be used again and again to defame and vilify the servants of God. Isaiah says that these scorners and perjurers will be consumed, meaning they will literally cease to be. In the very last days, their mouths will be shut by the truths of priesthood power. In the end, the hope of Israel, Jesus Christ, will always have the last word. But we need to be careful that we ourselves are not guilty of such fault-finding. It's easy to go from questioning to murmuring. When we find something we don't understand, maybe something new that doesn't quite fit with our view of things, we do have the right to question, but we don't have the right to offer false evidence, to try to trip someone up, or even to make someone an offender for a misplaced word. In God's kingdom, there are ways to question without accusing. There are ways to search for truth without fault-finding. There are ways to ask without murmuring. When weighing gospel truths, we should always doubt our doubts before doubting our anointed leaders or even our faith itself. In the end, Isaiah says, the people of covenant Israel shall not be ashamed, neither shall their face now wax pale. Those who quietly and faithfully hold true to the gospel, who hold fast to the iron rod in the face of scorn and ridicule, will be sanctified and lifted up because their reverence for God's truths will be greater than their fear of man. Indeed, what do we fear more, God's eternal judgments or man's accusations? In the Book of Mormon we read, "And I said unto him, Lord, the Gentiles will mock at these things because of our weakness. And when I had said this, the Lord spake unto me, saying, Fools mock, but they shall mourn. And my grace is sufficient for the meek, that they shall take no advantage of your weakness." Let us be counted among the meek. Let us be humble when contemplating the great questions of our day. Let us quietly weigh the facts of apparent contradictions and weigh them in the certitude of faith, that we may come to know the truth through the Holy Ghost, even the Comforter, which shall teach us the peaceable things of the kingdom. Let us never become an offender for a word. All this and more is found in the book, The Words of Isaiah. I'm Curtis Taylor with The Words of Isaiah.